Well, what does it take to paint a car without a paint booth and not being a professional auto body painter? Lots of setup, lots of prep. Body painting is all about prep. So if you haven't prepped, you're not going to do a very good job painting. Hello, birdie. Hello, buddy. How come everybody's voices always goes up sky high whenever they talk about the little doggy? Here's Gambler. He's 14 years old. He wants to go for a WALK. I can't say it because he'll be jumping up and down. So, he likes having his picture taken. Okay, so in the windows, if you got windows, you can create your own filter system. And I got these AC filters, 20 by 30, and then block off the rest of the space, shut the window on them. And there's one for each side, as you can see. And this is the return. So, as you can see, raise these up, open the window, and then you put the little filter in there. So, and what I did for the air that goes out is stick this regular fan toward down and stuck it in the ceiling. And above that, there's actually an electric roof fan up there. So there's plenty of course it's got soffit vents and gable vents. So you turn this sucker on and it'll suck the porcelain off a toilet tank. It also starts to sound like a paint booth. And we've double plastic the garage door, so it's got plastic on the other side. And as you can see, once the door shut, you can tell it's being pressed up against the wall. Okay, phone's not doing very well as far as it's being blurry on me today. But the other thing that the painting takes is lights. You need lots of lights, and otherwise you're gonna not be able to see the reflection of the paint on the car. So you need extra lights, and the more lights the better, of course. This shop didn't have any lights in it when I moved in, and of course it had a dirt floor as well. So basically these two lights I put up here really help this side. The only issue is I really need another light directly above here where the garage door opens, but I don't have one. And also you need to put plastic on everything that you don't want paint on, especially clear coat sticks to everything. So I'm gonna be in the process today of finishing the plastic, and just gonna cover everything up, and also everything but the ceiling. So I'll cover that up as well, and open this window and put the other filter in there, and hopefully wet the floor as well, and might back this car up just a little bit to give me a little more space. But the only thing I'm painting on the front is this edge right there, so I might be able to handle that. But you really want the paper on the floor to where when you shoot that, it's not blowing, picking up stuff off the floor and blowing it to the other side, because it'll roll up right up the other side of the car. So the best thing to do if you're shooting low is to carry your paper on down to the floor, tape it down there. Don't worry about it getting wet. It'll help it hold it down. And the reason why these pieces aren't on there is because you can't butt up a piece up against the metal and paint it. I mean, you can, but there's going to be more chance of it chipping later on. So taking those off and going to paint them as soon as we paint the car, but they're going to be, I had to do a little work here to bring this out some. When you put the tail pieces on there, that didn't conform just right. So these lower quarters have both been replaced in patch panels, about where that seam is. And this tail piece back here, the panel that goes all the way across for the back lights, that's been replaced. And this door's been replaced. That left front fender and the hood and the right fender have been replaced. And of course the valances, you got the grill, cow grill, that's original. This piece is aftermarket, this front valance, whatever you want to call it. And then I've got the rear, where is the rear valance? Oh, it's in the other shop, but it's got to be brought over, and probably going to hang it right here from this rail so I can paint it. Because if you put them on the cars first, it's hard to paint upside down, and you can't really see a reflection of the car. So it's best to leave them off if you can. If they're already off, that's a good thing. But when you paint, you're going to make sure that everything is completely taped and back taped to where your paint doesn't go everywhere you don't want it. So it's also, the stiffer the paper as well is because the stiff paper doesn't vibrate, or when the air hits it, it doesn't flap, and that keeps the dust down. This whole car will need to be wiped down for the final paint though. So we got the fan up in the ceiling, which is going to be great because it'll suck everything out of here. That's like maybe I don't know, somewhere around 5,000 RPM maybe. It's way up there, maybe 3,500, but it's a very high speed, high velocity fan. It's not just a little fan that you put in beside the bed and turn it on at night. This thing really sucks. And you can feel the air coming in from the window right now, way over here, from that fan. Also, you can feel it from this crack. Yeah, right here you couldn't light a match or flick a Bic because the wind coming in so hard. So I'm gonna have that other. The filters will restrict some of that, but having two of them, that will help a great deal. But anyway, painting a shop that you don't want, you don't have a paint booth, so you've got to turn your shop or your work base or your garage into a paint booth. Basically, you're gonna have to cover all the walls, all the stuff, mask everything down, and then have all your equipment laid out ready to go. And basically then you have a chance of doing a good job spraying a car. Otherwise you don't have a clue of how badly the car is going to come out. Even the lights need to be wiped down before you start spraying. You just want to make sure nothing's going to fall, because that's the whole thing. The sides usually come out pretty good because things just don't fall down on the sides of the car as much as they do right here on the top. And as much surface you have here on this Mustang, there's a lot of top. The hood, the trunk, the roof, sports roof is huge. And you're going to have a lot of debris falling down unless you make sure that it's all been cleaned up and it doesn't fall on there. That way you can paint this thing without spending a week on clear coat sanding and polishing the thing back to where it should be from once you finish spraying it. Yeah. But anyway, this is my little shop, and this is how I paint the cars to where it gets them an almost a very decent paint job. I can't say it's as good as it would be if it was a booth, but by the time I do the finish work on it, you'll think it was painted in a booth, and you'll think that this is a $10,000 paint job because it's going to look that good. That's the way we roll here at Rick's Garage. I know that's stupid, yeah. Alright. Talk to you guys later, and I'll show you the paint job. Stay tuned.
Thanks very much, Eleanor.
We just got to reveal the winner to our science pub quiz. On team 1, just to remind you, is
If you don't want things falling in your paint, once you get it painted, start thinking about what all is above it so that you can clean it. I just cleaned the fan, and I just took every light bulb down and wiped the housing as well as cleaned the bulbs, the fluorescent tubes. There's 12. And also cleaned the garage door rails as well, and the springs. That spring over there that's that you can't see. Got a blurry camera. So, part of the clean up the shop or your garage, plasticize all the walls. I still gotta go back over and do that one, and this one. But I do have the filters in the door, in the windows. Lots of air coming in. And then you've got to tape around every crack and crevice. Just because you've got a filter system and you got everything covered up with plastic, and you got a supply and return set up like this, things like this, you'll have to put lots of tape. There's quite a bit of pressure coming in on these filters. These are two 20 by 30, but that high velocity fan is kicking it. So the high velocity fan is just up there temporarily. That's actually a trap door to the attic where I put the fan above, which is an electric fan. They come on at 110 or 120. I can't remember, 105 degrees. It comes on thermostatically. So it's cool out there this morning. It's not even on, but it will help draw air out of here once it warms up as well. So yes, you got to get the flies out. Keep the flies out. Or kill the flies. So they won't end up in your paint. Then you've got to, after you plasticize everything, you've got to get over here and you've got to set up all your paint equipment, get everything else out of the way, get your DeVilbiss finish line sprayer out, put the right tip in there, FLG4, a great gun for shooting clear, great gun for shooting color. It's a great gun. I've enjoyed it, and it's not that expensive, a couple $100. But yeah, trying to see what tip it is. Oh, it's upside down. Once you get everything set up, then you're ready to wet the floor, have your paint ready to go, start shooting. This has already had two coats of color on it. We're going to put 4 all together, so this will be the 3rd one going on after I get the plastic up and get ready to shoot this afternoon. Later.